Welcome to the last edition of Second City Sports in 2020, Zoom style.
Zoom style.
There we go. Let's send off 2020 with a kick in the you-know-where. Along with Lakeena and Lamont Scott, I am Sydney Brown. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at SidKid80. Once again, at SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keenan McGee on Twitter and Keenan_McGee on the IG.
Follow me at Lamont Scott on Facebook, Lamont Scott 69 on Instagram, and Lamont Scott 16 on Twitter.
And you can follow this show, Second City Sports, along with the other podcast programming from We Are Regal Radio. Just go to our website at weareregalradio.com. That's WEAREREGAL radio.com. And wherever you download your podcasts, including the iHeartRadio app, make sure you type in that search engine box, War on Anchor. That's WARR on Anchor. And we're also on the tube, a.k.a. YouTube, at War Media. Once again, at War Media, WARR Media. You can not only listen to us, but watch us live do our thing for the last time in 2020. Hello. Lamont's like, forget it.
Lamont's like, nope. Lamont's like, okay. Look alive, though. Okay.
Yeah. Like, comment, share, subscribe, folks.
Yep.
Like, comment, share, subscribe at War Media on YouTube. Lakeena, one question. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Is the Earth on its axis? Is the Earth flat or is it rotating?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The Bears beat the Jags. It was close for a little bit, but I think someone told the Jags that the Jets were losing. We'll get to them in a sec. The Jets were winning. We'll get to them in a second. But so I think that's probably what happened. But I mean, gosh, with Arizona losing, now the Bears control their destiny. I'm using air quotes here, folks. So
yeah, the sun's shining outside, Lakeena.
Yep.
The 2020 is coming to a close. I don't know how to feel today, but like you said, the Bears defeated the Jaguars 31-17.
41-17.
41-17. Did I say 31?
Yes, you did.
Well, whatever. They won the damn game. That's all that counts.
Well, I'll say whatever.
But but looking at some of the snap highlights of the game, of course, the Bears came out strong on that first drive, but I got that feeling that they played down to their competition in that first half. Give Jacksonville credit. It seems like they wanted to compete during that first 30-minute session. That was an incredible catch by DJ Shark of Jacksonville, being the backup defender of the Bears. I forgot who his name was, but that was a hell of a catch by Shark to give Jacksonville. It turned out to be the only touchdown of the game. But in that first half, I don't know about you, Lakeena, but after that first drive, it seems like the Bears wanted to play down to the Jaguars competition-wise. It seems like they wanted to do what they wanted to do, but they couldn't. And that turnover by Mitchell Trubisky towards the end of that first half, he got away with it last week at Minnesota. He got away with it yesterday, but I don't want to make it all about Mitch, but it seems to me like Matt Nagy had a hand in that play calling in that first half. And one play I wanted to point out was that shovel pass to Cole Kmet, which the score should have been 14-3, I believe, at the time, but they had to settle for a field goal. And you know which play I'm talking about from that playoff loss with Philadelphia a couple of years ago? Mm-hmm. Remember that stupid-ass shovel pass to Adam Shaheen?
Oh, yeah.
Now with the Dolphins? I said at the time on this show, why would you call that play in the middle of a playoff game? That's not going to work. And you saw what happened, on Sunday with Cole Kmet. That play did not work. Don't tell me you practiced it all year. If you did, don't tell me you looked great in practice and that you expected to look better in the game. It did not work. Don't do it again.
Well, they're lucky. I mean, they're lucky they were able to get away with that against Jacksonville, but. Look, James Robinson didn't play for them. They went with Mike Glennon, for this reason, because I think Gardner Minshew, would have given them a better chance to win if that was what they were doing. So, but, look, Mitchell was able to get away with that interception, because Glennon threw an equally bad interception right back, and hopefully we can get Lamont to connect back with us, because I remember Rich Gannon said in the broadcast, I mean, he was just like about to go off, and they're like, "What you know that stuff in high school football? You're taught that in high school not to do that." But I mean, okay, fine, but I mean, look, other than that, and look, that was the only interception of Mitch's. He looked good. 2 touchdown passes. I mean, David Montgomery had 95 rushing yards and 23 carries. The defense did what they needed to do. Roquan Smith, looked like he was banged up a little bit, but was able to have 8 tackles. I mean, look, you did what you're supposed to do against a not a very good Jaguars team. So, I mean, I'm not impressed. I'm sorry. I mean, you're supposed to do this. So, and next week you're gonna be facing. All I've heard from after the Bears won, the Packers should win against the Titans, and they'll have nothing to play for. Well, they still do. They actually still have something to play for. So, I'm kind of like you said, Sid. I'm hoping that they lose to the Packers on Sunday, but look, everyone looks good. You did what we're supposed to against Jacksonville, and look, as Lamont is now connected back with us. So, Lamont, what do you think about the game yesterday?
They did what they were supposed to do. They don't get no extra points for beating Jacksonville. I mean, it didn't look good for a minute. I mean, it looked like they wanted to lose. The way, did you see how they was tearing into them in the beginning with that run game? They was running over them, and that was a little nerve-wracking. But then, the offense done what it has done, showed up, besides a couple of questionable plays that I'm quite sure we definitely going to get into. That was just, they did some very, 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 very questionable things, especially the quarterback and even the play calling. But overall, they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, before we dive into the numbers, guys, the first half, as I mentioned before, it was 13-10 Bears at half. I don't know what was said and what was done in that locker room for Chicago, but they came out on Sunday in that second half, scoring 28 points. The run game actually got it going, unlike in the first half. Mitchell Trubisky and that play calling, it looks like Bill Lazor took over that, thank goodness, in the second half, and the Bears were able to roll. Their defense, as you mentioned, Lakeena, Roquan Smith had a good game. Danny Trevathan had a good game. So, and we'll dive into the numbers a little bit more, as I mentioned, coming up. But the Bears turned it around in that second half. Like you mentioned, Lamont, it looked like the Bears, if they were going to win the game in that first half, it looked like they were going to barely win it, but they turned it up in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, I think he took over. He had to take over because one of those calls, like, I remember I was watching the game at home with my mother, and she thought I kicked the TV when they ran a cold commit on the 1 yard line. Like, that has been so frustrating for me all year. Like, when I saw that play, I was like, oh, they're going to lose this game for us, huh? Remember, I was telling y'all a couple of weeks ago it was going to be the Mike Glennon revenge game. So I thought Mike Glennon was going, and then he started throwing the ball all around the field like he was an all-star quarterback. So I was like, oh yeah, they trying to lose. They don't want nothing to play for. But I think Bill Lazor took over because I think after the end of that first half when Mitch did that dumb play, I don't even know if you can call that dumb. Did you all hear? I'm quite sure you all did hear them. Announcers talking about the play.
Yeah, Rich Gannon. Yeah, Lakeena mentioned it. Yeah.
Man, the way he talked about him was like, thank you. And now I want to hear Rich Gannon call back. I want to hear him and Romo in the booth calling a Bears game together so they can just destroy all the stupid. Because that, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, you're talking about color commentators trashing the Bears. You like say Rich Gannon did the Colts-Bears game from early in the year. You heard what he said. Remember Brian Greasy on Monday Night Football against the Rams. We don't know what happened there. Of course, Troy Aikman, they had him and Joe, but it looks like we may get that crew now because that Bears-Packers game is moved to 3:25 for next Sunday. So it looks like if the Bears should screw up again, Troy Aikman would be on their tail again. So we should see about that. But going back to that Trubisky interception, we talked about it before you hopped back on, Lamont. That was a dumb play. And Rich Gannon said on the broadcast, just throw the ball away. You had 3 points right there at the least 3 points to go into halftime. There was no point in doing
No
what
excuse.
Mitch did toward the end of that first half. That was inexcusable.
No excuse. No, there's no excuse for that play. And like I said, Glennon, had another just as bad, if not worse, interception where Gannon just went off and said, "Well, hey, you're taught in high school not to do that. So what the hell was that?" So I mean, I was just like, "Oh God," I'm sure that was it was a fun, a fun game if you were a Bears fan. It was a great performance. Allen Robinson had 103 receiving yards against his former team and 10 catches. It wasn't perfect, but they did just enough to win. So there you go.
Yeah, they did enough to win. And is it enough momentum? Is it going to carry them through the next week? Can they do it again? Can they win? I know I was thinking, I personally, they have a hard time with Green Bay, but this is a Central Division game in the wintertime in Chicago. So everything's kind of out the window until Aaron Rodgers decides he's tired of playing with him. And that's kind of where we at with it. Like, I was watching it with a couple of people, and they got all excited, like, we going to the playoffs. And I was like, no, it's a team in Wisconsin that's going to have something to say about it. and I'm like, it's ironic that it come down to that team, and can you beat that monster? And remember I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, Sid, if by some miracle Matt Nagy beats Green Bay, he might get an extension. So he will not be going anywhere, and nothing will be changing. And if they can beat them people next week, Mitch will be they're going to give him a 1-year deal or something, and they're going to go with that same setup if they beat Green Bay, man, and that's scary to think.
We'll get into that part of it in just a moment. You're listening to Second City Sports along with Lakeena McGee and Lamont Scott. I am Sidney Brown as we break down the Bears' 41-17 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 16 action. Taking a look at the numbers for Chicago, win at Jacksonville, Mitchell Trubisky, 24 for 35 for 265 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and 1 dumb interception. In the run game, David Montgomery came on, especially in that second half, 23 carries for 95 yards in a touchdown run. Mitchell Trubisky, 2 carries, 10 yards in a touchdown run. Receiving rise, Lakeena already mentioned the numbers for Allen Robinson. Jimmy Graham, nice to see him back in the end zone. 4 catches, 69 yards, and 2 big touchdowns. Darnell Mooney continued to impress, 4 catches for 39 yards. And Cole Kmet, 2 catches for 218 yards. That offense looked better yesterday, as I mentioned, especially in that second half. I know people are going to say, well, the Bears are supposed to look like that against bad teams. Yes, but here's the thing. They haven't looked like this all year.
And look, I know this is the first time they've scored more than 30 points in 4 straight games since I think 1965. I think I saw a tweet from Larry Mayer.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, the last 4 defenses they played against, are either like near the bottom or at the bottom. So like, I'm not impressed, like, against teams that have bad defenses. I'm sorry, you're not going to get cookies or bouquets from me doing what you're supposed to against, subpar or bad defenses. I'm sorry. And look, I mean, yeah, where was this, early in the season where you were actually playing good teams, where you were actually playing Green Bay, which, look, I mean, they're an opportunistic defense. We've seen that, and the Titans, another opportunistic defense. So where was all this? So, look, I'm sorry. I'm going to be cheering for them not to make the playoffs because you know what? That's the only way we're going to get changed around here. So I don't care what anybody says. Anybody can say, well, you're not a real fan. No, I know what this team is. I know who they are. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Back to you, gentlemen.
According to late Dennis Green, now my brain's scrambling. You know what Denny Green said following the loss in 2006. We are who they thought they were. They are who we thought they were. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. And even the announcers said it with Mitch. They was like, he went to 1 year at North Carolina. I think he might have came out too early. The Bears kind of reached. I said, yeah, you think they kind of reached?
I loved Rich Gannon yesterday. Oh, my God, he brought the heat, and I loved it.
And I was like, yeah, they reached. And Mitch may turn out to be the next. I remember I said it like early in the year, like Mitch going to be Alex Smith. He gonna beat Alex Smith, and I'm okay with that. I'm just hate that it had to happen to us for us to find that out, though. I mean, we could have went in so many other directions, but like Lakeena said, I can't stand Green Bay, so I'm never going to say I don't want them to beat Green Bay. But yeah, if it happens, no change will happen, and we will be going through this same thing next year after losing a couple of pieces or spending some more money on somebody on the defensive side instead of re-signing our wide receiver and letting him play with Mooney and see what happens with a capable quarterback. So it remains to be seen, definitely.
I guess Lamont, excuse me, decided to switch over the conversation. I'll give out these two stats quickly from Sunday's game from the defensive side of the Bears. Roquan Smith had a great game, 2 interceptions, 8 total tackles, including 8 subtle tackles, and Danny Trevathan got the only sack for Chicago yesterday, sacking Mike Glennon. Lamont, I'll go piggyback up on what you've been saying. You teased it a couple of minutes ago. And you said it a couple of weeks ago, should that Green Bay game matter, which it does now, is assuming that the Bears will win thanks to Arizona losing to San Francisco on last Saturday. We'll break down that game in just a moment. But should the Bears win next Sunday, I think we said this too on the show for the last couple of weeks, the McCaskey's going to find a way to run this back for at least one more year. Does Matt Nagy deserve all the credit? Hell no. But he's going to get some of the credit just because he's the head coach. I think that the Bears, if they're smart, whether they win next Sunday or not, they should hire a real football person to oversee the franchise. And I don't know if the McCaskeys think that way. You know, Lakeena, of course, you too, Lamont. McCaskeys are not progressive thinkers. They're not forward-thinking people. And so if they see something work, they're just going to ride it out. I want fans to prepare for this, assuming that they make it to the playoffs, assuming they beat Green Bay, or they can still get in if Arizona loses to the Rams in their season finale at home next week. The Bears are going to say, assuming they make the playoffs, well, we weathered the storm here. We stayed the course. We believed in Matt Nagy. Our players had to take time to develop and all that other BS. I just want Bears fans to prepare themselves for all that PR BS they're going to hear from the folks up there at Hallis Hall. We believed in them the whole time. Yeah, we struggled, but we stuck together. They didn't quit. And it shows the heart and the character of the team. Matt Nagy didn't let them go off the rails and all that little BS. I just want Bears fans to prepare for that. Should they somehow beat Green Bay next week or find themselves backing into the playoffs?
You left out the Mitch has showed great patience and confidence and intestinal fortitude. And
message ding.
Gonna do. You left that out, and even the backing into the playoff thing, which probably is a better scenario than them winning their way into the playoffs. Because if you had to throw the two, which one you think is more likely, them backing in or them winning in?
Probably backing in.
That's what I was thinking too.
Backing in. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm the same way. I think backing in. That's probably the most likely scenario.
But should they be in any other way? Like, if they gonna go, what better way to go? From the way the season has went, you always been calling the Bears poo anyway, so they should back.
We'll just call it hashtag Bears playoff poop.
That's if they make it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because I don't think they will. I don't think they'll back in. I don't think they'll win in. I'm just going to.
So, to back in, they need a lot of help. How much help they need to get out of the back end?
Assuming that they lose to Green Bay, the only way they can make the playoffs is that if the Rams should take care of Arizona on the road next week in the desert. That's how the Bears can back in.
You know that's going to happen, right? Especially after yesterday. You know that's going to happen.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, no, I wouldn't be shocked. But look, the Rams may have either Goff's going to be, his thumb's going to be in a really big sling, or they're going to have somebody that's never played a down in the NFL before. So
yeah,
and you've seen how much they've struggled lately. So
yeah, but they still got Aaron Donald. So
yeah,
that right there alone that right there alone gives them a much better chance than we have. And we got Khalil Mack, who is the second best when he decides
speaking
to
of
show
Khalil
up.
Mack, him and Cordell Patterson are representing the Bears in the Pro Bowl this season, even though there will not be a game, a Pro Bowl game being played.
Yeah. Allen Robinson and Roquan Smith should have been there instead of them two.
Yeah, let's be
Yeah.
honest. Let's be honest, yeah. I was surprised that Roquan Smith did not get in there. I'm really shocked by that.
And with Cordell Patterson, I mean, you know why he's there for the return point of, part of the situation, because it definitely wasn't because of his running back skills. And what he does, it wasn't that. We know it wasn't that, but yeah, I mean, this about his fourth or fifth?
Yep.
I mean, he's constantly there. And, that's why he's a specialist. I mean, you look forward to next year, Tariq be back, hopefully, and, things will get back on track, so to speak, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's take a look at some of the key games from Week 16. Of course, we'll start with the games from last Saturday. Of course, the Buccaneers took care of the Lions 47-7. Brady, 348 yards and 4 touchdown passes. He didn't even play in the second half. That's how bad the Lions are. And, of course, the Buccaneers clinched the playoff spot. We'll discuss this game. The 49ers upset the Cardinals 20-12 down in the desert. Jeff Wilson was the man for the 49ers, 22 carries for 183 yards. George Kittle made his return to the lineup for the 49ers, 4 catches and 92 yards. Kyler Murray did not have a good game, 247 yards and an interception. I watched this game via my computer in its entirety. And looking at that game, the 49ers were in control of that game from start to finish. Arizona tried to play catch up, and they just wet the bed once again in crucial situations. We saw this all year long, Lakeena. I'll go back to that New England game, which they lost on that second field goal. You can go back to that Lions game from early in the season. This is a young team. I did say they would make the playoffs this year, and I will stick to that, but they're not looking good coming down the home stretch of the season.
I mean, I don't know what the heck happened. I mean, I watched some of that game too, and I'm like, okay, what, huh? Like, and then George Kittle. I mean, I know he saw me sit out there game like, I love the Bears. Well, if the Bears loved you, why didn't they draft you? If they could have drafted you, but they took Shaheen instead, who's not even who's in Miami now. So I don't know how you love the Bears so much, but okay. But I mean, back to the game for a second. I mean, I don't know what the heck happened. I mean, look, CJ Beathard had 3 touchdown passes, and I don't know what the hell happened with Arizona. I mean, maybe they got caught looking ahead. Maybe they thought that, maybe they played down to their competition because, San Fran had nothing to play for. I commend them for not giving up. But, I mean, look, Gedrick, is banged up, so he's gone. So that was a big part of their defense. And I don't know. Could be the play callings. A lot of the play calling have been very questionable. And the folks are already saying that maybe they get rid of some of the people in that coaching staff. Should they not make the playoffs? Or maybe it's just because they're all young and, they're still learning, but they can still get into the playoffs. They control their destiny. So, but I'm a little bit concerned about Arizona. Lamont?
I think it's just youth. I think it's just their youth. I think they're young. They're young, and their defense. You remember their defense was always suspect, even when they was winning. We was on the Arizona bandwagon early this year. And I believe in Kyler Murray, but I think the youth is starting to show, and I don't think that they could beat the Rams. Even at home, I don't think they could beat the Rams. Even a depleted, hurt, confused Rams team, I don't think Arizona can pull it off, man. And I think that going forward, they should. They got the weapons to do it. But I just think it's a matter of youth, and like you mentioned with that coaching staff, that may be it. Like, they got some pieces, they need that right person to point them all in the right direction, and I think we'll see a lot of that next year. And if I had the choice, and I'm asking y'all this question also, who would you rather see in the playoffs, Arizona or Chicago?
I'll say Arizona.
I picked Arizona, so I'll stick with them. But the Bears make it is great for us in our business. But I said Arizona. That was my pick before the season started. I'll stick with them. But the Bears make it whoop-de-doo.
That's exactly how I feel about it. The Bears get it. Yippee. Okay, whatever. You'll probably get your butts kicked by whoever comes out of the East.
I heard one of our astounding co-workers on television say the Bears are one of the few teams that could win a playoff game today. I was like,
that person, yeah, I heard that. That person's high, whoever that is, whoever that was.
That
person's high. Yeah, I said it.
He said he was like, it's only 5 teams that could win the Super Bowl. He was like, it's 7 teams that could win a playoff game. And he said that the Bears were one of them. He said they won't win multiple playoff games, but they can win one. And I was thinking, really, okay. You know, I watch your show, not for you, but I watch the show. But it's, yeah, he said they can win a playoff game. So, hey, who knows, right?
Well, we know this from the nightcap from last Saturday. The Las Vegas Raiders will not be participating in this year's playoffs because they dropped an important game at home to the Miami Dolphins, 26-25. Ryan Fitzpatrick came in relief for Tua Tagovailoa and threw the game-winning touchdown. Not the game-winning touchdown pass, but Ryan Fitzpatrick had a key first down catch after the Raiders took the lead on the field goal. It was a face mask penalty, which on the Raiders, which gave the Miami Dolphins a chance to win at the end, which Jason Sanders nailed a game-winning field goal. The Miami Dolphins control their destiny now. We'll get into some of the AFC wildcard teams in just a minute, but the Miami Dolphins are in the driver's seat with 10 wins and 5 losses. We talked about this, Lakeena, before the season started. I wanted to pick Miami to be my other surprise team as far as making the playoffs. I wasn't quite on them just yet. Maybe they peaked a year too early, but like I said before the season started, I like the direction that this franchise is going in. Let's give credit. He should be, if they make the playoffs, he should be a coach of the year, at least one of the top candidates in Brian Flores. He's doing a hell of a lot better than Matt Patricia, who's unemployed.
Oh, wait.
Oh, look,
yeah.
I mean, no, go ahead, Lamont.
I mean, like, what they're doing mentally in Miami is a great thing. The way that you can have your quarterbacks in love with each other on and off the field like that, going through it, you come out, you go in, you come out, you go in type situation. That's some great coaching right there. And that show great character out of all the players involved. I mean, you listen to Tua talk, he sounds like, I'm grateful to have a big brother like Fitz. Like, man, when I'm not doing good, I'm glad that the coach can recognize it and put my big brother in. That's what he's here for. And it's like, it's working, and that's why your coach of the year thing should, even if they don't win nothing else, he still should be up there and considered for that, just for managing that situation with such a high profile and high caliber player.
Oh, yeah, I mean, look, I mean, he didn't seem too upset when they brought Fitz in. I mean, when he, Fitz, orchestrated that comeback, and also there was some other stuff that happened too during that game. We'll get to that in our studs and duds, but I mean, look, good for Brian Flores. Look, we said we had Spiro Diaz on earlier this year, and he's he watched a lot of those Miami games, last season. He said that the talent is there and the coaching is there, and Brian Flores should definitely be considered for coach of the year for what he's done, with that team, and especially with that defense.
Yeah, the defense has come alive. We talked about it for the last couple of weeks. Xavier Howard, the young defensive back for the Dolphins, he's a stud. So they have a lot of young players that really are growing into their own. They had injuries too the last few weeks, but they're really coming together at the right time. You're listening to Second City Sports along with Lakeena McGee and Lamont Scott. I am Sidney Brown. Let's review the key games from Week 16 from the National Football League. Let's review some of the key games from last Sunday's action. The Kansas City Chiefs get by the Atlanta Falcons 17-14. Kansas City, as expected, clinched the number 1 seed throughout the AFC playoffs. I know most of the country got this game via Fox, including us here in Chicago. I did not turn to that game. I watched some of that via NFL Red Zone. If you look at the box score, well, Kansas City played down to the competition of Atlanta. No, it was a hell of a struggle defensively. And Atlanta, as usual, they shoot themselves in the foot in the closing moments of a game. It happened again on Sunday. Kansas City should be lucky getting out there with the victory.
again, I'll get to them with my studs and duds, but look, I mean, again, they got to win against a bad Atlanta team. They know they can't afford to do that during the playoffs. So, I mean, okay, fine. I mean, Atlanta finds even more ways to lose. So, good for them and and crown them. But look, they made the big plays late. I mean, Travis Kelce, I think he broke the record for most receiving yards by a tight end. So, congratulations to him. Look, Cram the whole tight end reception, but they did just up to win the game. So it's fine. It happens.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Sid said, that game, I actually watched it. That game was a lot tighter, closer, and Atlanta. I feel bad for Raheem Morris. Like I feel bad because he's been how close has he been to winning these games, and he may not get the job because of that, but they've been better since he's been the coach. So I mean, he has coached well enough to deserve a shot because they have been playing for him. So I'm interested to see where that goes and what happens with that. But yeah, they just found a way to shoot themselves as always.
The upset of the day from Week 16, sort of. We'll dig in deep into this. The New York Jets, now 2-13, they upset the Cleveland Browns 23-16. I'll watch some of this game via my computer. COVID decided to have a day with the Cleveland Browns wide receiver group, and Baker Mayfield did not look good on Sunday. The offensive line did not block for him. Baker Mayfield was sacked multiple times. Now, you cannot blame him for this loss, but the Jets defense decided to step up. Frank Gore, congratulations to him, only the third running back in NFL history to rush for over 16,000 career yards. The other two running backs were the late, great Walter Payton and Emmitt Smith. Jamison Crowder had a great game for the Jets. He had a touchdown reception of 7 receptions for 92 yards. Sam Darnold actually looked okay. The Browns, their offensive threat was Austin Hooper early, but the Jets defense saw that. It's like, you're not going to let him beat us anymore. Of course, the run game got going early in that second half. But Cleveland, they still have a chance to make the playoffs. They control their own destiny if they beat Pittsburgh at home next week. Will Pittsburgh bring their full squad as far as playing their starters? We'll get to Pittsburgh in just a second. But Cleveland still controls their own destiny. On the flip side for the Jets, if you're a New York Jets fan in 2020, it has not been good. Well, now with the Jaguars losing to the Bears and you beating the Browns, what do you get? The number 2 pick in the 2021 draft, which means, i.e., no Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, I saw a little bit of this game via my laptop. But I mean, where were the running backs? I mean, where was Chubb? Where was Hunt? Why didn't they get the ball to them, knowing that you had no wide receivers? So I don't know what the Browns were thinking. I mean, I know Landry and basically the whole core was out, but even still, you have 2 capable running backs. You could have had 100 yards, but look, Jamison Crowder. I mean, he also had a touchdown pass, so that. That if possible. So I mean, look, the Jets. Look, I know Jets fans aren't happy, but I think the Jets players are celebrating. I'm sure.
Yeah, and I mean, the Jets need some. They need some credit, and they deserve some credit for not giving in. And they don't get their second coming of Broadway Joe, but I believe they're okay with whatever they get at this point because they need everything, so to speak. So whatever they end up with is gonna be better than what they got. So
and good for Sam Darnold. No, sorry. Go ahead, Lamont. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like whatever they got. I mean, whatever they get at number 2, they need it. So they just don't. They believed in Sam Darnold a year ago. So it's just been 1 year, and you won't believe in him no more. So that whatever you get at number 2 to complement whatever you got. I mean, they just gotta pick their head up, and I think it starts bigger than on the field with the Jets. I think they need, upper management to get some things in order. And then it'll trickle down to the field. So, I mean, they got some stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, look, Darnold looked good yesterday, too. Had a couple of touchdown passes, so didn't make any mistakes. So I think maybe could he be the quarterback for the future? I know, Jets are going to be, lobbying for Justin Fields. It's like they're not going to get Lawrence. So we'll see.
The game of the day from Week 16, the Pittsburgh Steelers trailed by 17 points, 24-7 at one point. They had a humongous comeback the first time that's happened under Mike Tomlin. They defeated the Indianapolis Colts 28-24. Ben Roethlisberger came alive in the second half, 342 yards passing and 3 touchdown passes. Juju Smith-Schuster, he decided to stop dancing in front of the 50-yard line, danced in the end zone with 9 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown catch. Guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers' 3-game winning streak is over. They're now 12-3. As I mentioned with reviewing the Cleveland loss to the New York Jets, Pittsburgh cannot move down. I don't think they can move up either. Do you play your starters at Cleveland next week? If you're Pittsburgh, are you really worried about the Cleveland Browns? Because the scenario is this: if Cleveland beats Pittsburgh next week at home, Cleveland will be in the playoffs. Pittsburgh, you're not playing for anything at this point.
No, I think like the 4 seed is either 3 or the 4 seed is probably the best they can do at this point. But I think it's also for pride purposes too. I think they would love to. I'm sure you know how Mike Tomlin is, his mindset.
You don't want them to get that. You don't want them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, your mindset is that you don't want. Yeah, keep your rivals, your division rivals out the playoffs. So I don't know. We'll see what he does.
Yeah, you don't even want them there. I mean, that's just like, you can say that with if Green Bay didn't have nothing to play for, would they play down or would they bench people? I don't think they would. I think they would still try to tear the Bears' head off, regardless. And because they're in your division, I think Pittsburgh gonna have that same attitude and mentality.
Wrapping up the first half of the schedule from Week 16, of course, Baltimore took care of the sad-ass New York Football Giants, 27-13.
Who are still in the division, by the way, in the NFC East. We'll talk about
why.
I don't know how and why. Who knows? But
of course,
scenario if they could win the East and the Bears could play the Giants in the playoffs, wouldn't that be just beautiful?
Goody, just great. Go ahead, Sid.
And the Cincinnati Bengals defeated the Houston Texans 37-31. Now, taking a look at the late games from Week 16, we'll start off with sticking with the NFC East. The Washington Football Team and now ex-quarterback Dwayne Haskins, who has been given his pink slip and link cards. The Washington Football Team lost to the Carolina Panthers 2013. The Washington Football Team had a chance to wrap up the NFC East division title, which is not going to happen, which means that they'll play the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football next week to decide the NFC East division title. It's going to be a 7-9 or 6-10 record that will decide this division, which has been sad all year long. Lakeena, I'll start with you. I did watch some of this game via my computer, and it didn't take a genius to figure out that the backup quarterback, I forgot his name, for Washington. That's the only time that the offense looked great all game, but it was too little, too late.
Taylor Hinckley, that's his name, because I remember he played. Yeah, because I remember he played at Old. He actually played at Old Dominion too in FCS. It was part of that upset. That upset Virginia Tech a couple of years ago too. He was a quarterback there, so a little trivia for you guys. But yeah, I mean, he actually looked really good. I mean, he actually led him to a touchdown in the first series. When he got in, so they actually showed a little bit of life. But I mean, Dwayne Haskins. I mean, my God, you can tell that he just was unprepared. He looked lackadaisical, and now he's out. So, and if you're NBC, you better hope that Alex Smith can play next week, because you're going to be seeing some people. Although we'll see. I mean, Hickey we'll see. I mean, he'll have a full week of practice, so we'll see what he does. But that. And also, you got to give Carolina credit too. They have nothing to play for, but Teddy looked good. I mean, their defense looked really good. So Shaq Thompson had 9 tackles. So, but it looks like Matt Rule may have if they give some pieces, and Carolina can be right there for the NFC South next year. But Washington, and I don't blame Rivera for releasing Haskins, because that was just inexcusable what he did earlier last week.
Hey, He might have got his pink slip and link card, but he got his gold card at the club, so he's cool. He don't really care.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
I hope it was worth it for him.
So
it better have been worth it.
You know what? And it's interesting. And I was talking to somebody about that who's like not into the sports like that, and they was like, well, that don't make no sense. Why would he do that? I'm like, that just showed all type of non-leadership, and it showed when he showed up on the field. Like, do we even care about football? Like, did he fall in love wherever he went? That's what I was thinking. Was his mind still there? That's what, watching him play, and like you said, like kind of unprepared, was his mind somewhere else? It happens. They made a song about it before, so it happens.
Staying with the NFC least, the Dallas Cowboys are still in contention. Why, I don't know, but they defeated the Philadelphia Eagles at home 37-17. Andy Dalton keeping their playoff hopes alive for the Cowboys. He had 377 yards passing with 3 touchdown passes. Ezekiel Elliott, who actually came back from injury, looked good, 19 carries for 105 yards. Michael Gallup, the big stud wide receiver for the Cowboys, had 6 catches for 121 yards and 2 big touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb had a great game as well. Lamont, I'll start with you. I did watch the majority of this game via my computer. And Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma, who called the game for Fox on Sunday, they brought up a great point about CeeDee Lamb. He's going to be a very good receiver for that Cowboys offense. Their defense, even before Dak Prescott got hurt against the Giants early in the season, their defense has been terrible, but they showed up for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I think not only that, Andy Dalton is getting comfortable. And Andy Dalton, he did some good things in Cincinnati. So we know he was a capable quarterback when he has the right pieces. And he do have pieces in Dallas when you look around. Like you said, the wide receiver showed up. Where has he been all year? He hasn't showed up all year, but he showed up in this game. So you look around and you look at Dallas going forward, even playing for that division or whatever. Dalton is comfortable. And when he's comfortable with weapons, we've seen what Cincinnati used to do. Cincinnati used to do damage in that division when he was throwing that ball to A.J. Green and what T.J.
Ushmanzada.
That T.J. character, yeah. So, he had done some things. Yeah, he has done some things. So I think that, I feel bad for the rest of the teams in the East that have to play Dallas at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked by that performance. I mean, Andy Dalton, look, I saw a little bit of that Andy Dalton in Cincinnati too, like you said, Lamont. So he looked really good. I mean, look, Zeke Elliott did his thing, 105 yards. Jalen Smith, that's the best I've seen him all year. Jordan Lewis also made some big tackles. Randy Gregory had a key turnover that sort of, sealed the win for Dallas. Look, Dallas could be a force. All they gotta do is beat the Giants. Then the division's theirs. Although it might be some funky tie-breaking thing, but I mean, although unfortunately Jalen Hurts, looked like a rookie yesterday, and also the Eagles defense.
Especially after the injury to Brandon Graham, it was sad.
That was unfortunate, and he was their best defender, and he was the leader of that defense. And once he went out, I mean, it was all downhill for that defense after that.
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys have to beat the Giants next week, and then they have to have the Washington football team lose at Philadelphia. If that scenario happens, the Dallas Cowboys will win the NFC East. The other leg game that took place at the same time was the Seattle Seahawks wrapping up the NFC West because they defeated the Los Angeles Rams 20-9. Jared Goff did not have a good game, 234 yards passing, including an injured thumb toward the end of the game. He had an interception as well. Chris Carson mustered up some sort of a running game for the Seahawks, 16 carries for 69 yards. Russell Wilson didn't have a great game either, but it was Seattle's defense that was the story.
Oh yeah, that defense looked. That's the best that defense has looked all year, like as a whole. I mean,
Yes.
Jamal Adams, with the little cigar afterwards, that was really cool.
That he was lighting on the wrong end.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He's probably not a big
I'm away
cigar.
from the New York Jets. They're not my
Yeah.
problem.
No,
Woo!
okay. I love it. Jordan Brooks had some key tackles. Shaquille Griffin had some key tackles as well. KJ Wright, I believe, he was the one I think that stopped the Rams on the goal line, I believe. So that defense looked really good. I mean, not Legion of Boom-esque, but they were good enough to slow down the Rams offense, that's for sure.
And they good on all three levels too. When you look at it, you got Dunlap up front. Look, they're good on all three levels. So looking at that defense, it's like that whole team has completely flipped. They was all Russ, let Russ cook, let Russ eat, let Russ eat, let Russ eat. Now they like, no, send them to us, let us eat them. And that's what has been happening when they've been trying to get past that defense. And I think having Jamal Adams as your locker room character may not be such a bad thing because it looked like it helps his play. So allow him to be the character as long as they're winning. You can continue to be the character as long as that's probably what Pete and pulled him to the side and said, I dealt with the beast. So if I can deal with the beast, I can deal with you. So we're going to let you be whatever you want to be as long as you win it. So do your thing. And I think, Pete Carroll got a way of relating. So I rock with Pete. I like Pete. I can play for Pete.
Don't forget the defensive lineman for the Seahawks, L.J. Collier, has been big for the key plays all year, too, especially in that game early in the season against New England. He stopped Cam Newton at the goal line. One more game to review from Week 16, the Sunday night action. I know many Bears fans were upset because the Green Bay Packers dominated the Tennessee Titans 40-14. Aaron Rodgers, 231 yards, 4 touchdown passes. A.J. Dillon for Green Bay had a big game as the backup running back, 21 carries for 124 yards and 2 touchdown runs. Devontae Adams had a big game for the Packers receiving-wise, 11 catches for 142 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Packers, unfortunately for you Bears fans, still has something to play for next week in Chicago. They're going to play probably the whole game. They still have the number 1 seed at stake, assuming that the Saints do not take care of business against Carolina next week. If the Packers win and the Saints lose, the Packers will wrap up the number 1 seed. There's a whole other tiebreaker scenarios there as well, but the Packers just had to win. Hopefully the Saints lose. Seattle has a chance to get up there as well as some weird, funky F-U-N-K-Y or F-U-N-K-E, as some of the kids would spell it. There's some scenarios as well. They can get the number 1 seed, but it'll come down to the Packers or the Saints getting that number 1 seed. The Packers look strong again, even in that mini snowstorm on Sunday.
It's like a little snow globe, right?
Yeah,
It was
snow
beautiful.
globe.
It was a beautiful sight. It was a beautiful sight last night. Not if you were a Titans fan. I mean, oh my gosh.
Patrick looked like the quarterback looked like he was having a hard time with all that snow and cold. He was like, Tannehill was like, I can't, wait, hold on. This ain't right. This is not right. This is not Miami. This is not Tennessee. This is not right. And Aaron Rodgers done ran up and down the snow, even though he ran out of bounds. Yeah, he ran out of bounds. I don't know why they didn't see that. But, yeah, so I look forward to
I was watching Red Zone. I don't know if they showed this on the NBC broadcast, but it was a Titans offensive lineman. I forgot his name, but it was about an hour and a half before the game. He ran outside in a hoodie, shorts, and he was barefoot. I was like,
barefoot, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? Especially what's going on now.
Oh my gosh! Oh, you know how weird some of those old linemen are. You know how weird they are. So they had their own little quirks. So that was hilarious.
Maybe he's a mountain man.
Yeah, maybe so. He looks like it. He looks like it.
Might have grew up in an igloo,
But to finish to this point here, look, they slowed down Derrick Henry. They did what they needed to do. The defense did, and like Aaron Rodgers, did his thing, and also look, Dillon had to step up because Jones was a little bit banged up. So I think that's why he was able to step up when he did. Devontae Adams, I think he broke her most receiving yards in this season. So look, And like you said, Sid, I mean, despite what Bears fans might think, the Packers still has a lot to play for because they have not clinched the number 1 seed yet. So like you said, the Saints can still get it. The Seahawks can get it too. So, expect them to be full on next week.
That's how we want them. That's how we want them. And to mention the Bears wanting them, see it, that third string running back for the Bears. Why hadn't he been on the field earlier? I can't think of his name. I think, what was his number? 40, 45? What was the scored the last touchdown for the Bears?
Let me look it up real quick, B. I know who you're talking about. I'll look it up here real quick.
Why hasn't he been in front of Ryan Nall is what I'm saying, simply on the burst that he provided and showed. Like, that was the fastest person I think I saw.
Artavius Pierce.
Yeah, I saw his mom tweet how proud she was that he scored a touchdown. That's nice. Yeah. That's always nice to see.
But he was the fastest person I've seen at running back since Tariq Cohen. So why we haven't been running the Tariq plays with him if he that fast is, I hadn't heard of him doing anything in practice like that. But hey, maybe they brung out a new wrinkle.
Go ask your head coach, Matt Nagy.
No, that's Bill Lazor. That's not Matt Nagy. That's Bill said, hold on. Hey, Matt, we got another player over here. You want to use him? And that's kind of how that probably happened. But I'm glad to see it happen. And I'm back to the Green Bay thing. I'm glad Green Bay is at full strength. That way, when the Bears beat them, Chicago can just, be happy with next year going the same way this year went. So we want it.
Okay, let's go to our studs and duds for a second. Sid, you go first.
My first stud is congratulations to Alvin Kamara with his 6 touchdown performance on Christmas Day in their 52-33 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, the Vikings are now eliminated for playoff contention. My second stud is Tom Brady, 4 touchdown passes for 348 yards in the Tampa Bay's win at Detroit. And my third stud, even though it's in a losing fashion, Jonathan Taylor was the reason why the Colts had a big lead in the first place at Pittsburgh on Sunday. He had 18 carries, 74 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Lamont?
My first one going to, the New Orleans Saints, showing why they are the number 1 seed, the real number 1 seed. And Alvin Kamara could have had 7. But he, Tyson was like, I'm sorry. He was like, no, it's cool. I'm still going to get number 6. So, yeah, could have had 7. And I got a fresh Tyson Hill jersey for Christmas, by the way, too. and that was good. And the third one,
Lakeena, we're going to see that come playoff time when we come back here for 2021.
Oh, yeah, you know it.
Yeah,
you already know. Go ahead, Lamont, finish up.
So, yeah. Pittsburgh get my last one because Pittsburgh showed up in the second half like a team that they were in the beginning of the season. And Roethlisberger took a shot of something in the locker room and came out swinging. So Pittsburgh gets that, gets the third one.
All right, Kamara, keep making unanimous 6 touchdowns. Apparently, he actually also helped win Drew Brees' oldest son, Braylon, his fantasy team championship. So, hey, that's pretty cool. The Jets, for actually looking good and probably not wanting to get that number 1 pick, even though I'm sure their fans are not happy that they did. And, of course, I have to do with the Green Bay Packers for their great performance last night. That game was over with at halftime. So I know that they did, the Titans did score, but that game was already over with. So it felt like it was already a blowout. Probably should have scored more points, but I think they kind of let the tip the foot off the gas a little bit. So those are my 3 studs. On the flip side, the duds. Lamont, you go first this time.
Jalen Hurts. I was hoping you can go 3 in a row, and show people that you belong. And, you disappointed me greatly. So, Jalen, the Indianapolis Colts defense, Lakeena.
I know. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Oh, my God.
How can you let that happen? And they're too good to let that happen. So they get number 2. And number 3 was Dwayne Haskins. How can he not be? His overall weekly performance, his everything. He got a combo grade. Yeah. Dwayne Haskins, matter of fact, he's the number 1. That's number 1. Hard as it is to be a quarterback in the NFL, and you want to do something like this, man, he might have set us back 20 more years, man.
Oh my gosh!
Justin Fields got to come into the league to this now. I mean, he might have set us back. He put us back behind Jamarcus Russell again. We got to start all over.
Oh gosh! Okay. Oh my god! Hard to top that, but Sid, you go ahead and try.
Okay, one of you guys have to do your research on this one. Whoever's number 99 for the Las Vegas Raiders, with that stupid penalty on Ryan Fitzpatrick with the face mask, he gets my dud. Number 2, the sorry-ass New York Football Giants. That's all I have to say about that. And my third stud is the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh my gosh. My dud is one of my duds is Arizona Cardinals. What the hell happened? Y'all had it right there. You control your own destiny, to get into the playoffs. Like what I know you're showing your youth, but if you want to be taken seriously, you gotta win these kinds of games. So we'll see what happens this Sunday.
Robbie Gould escaped the dud for me because he missed a big kick in that game too.
Yes. He was trying his best to not help the Bears. I was actually ruined for him. You know how it is. Indianapolis as a whole, also the defense, also Phillip Rivers. He had a fumble and an interception. I don't know what the heck happened in the second half, but they had that game against the Steelers, so basically letting the Steelers off the hook. So that was just terrible second half there.
He went Charles Barkley on us. Terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm going there. Also, I'm going there because I've been telling that defense all year, like Lamont said, and you lay a big old egg in the second half. So I don't know what the hell happened there. Also, Atlanta. Atlanta. You keep finding more ways to lose. From Terrell Jr. having the interception that he had the interception in his hands, dropped it, and also, who's another one of my favorite players, Young Ho Koo, missed a chip shot field goal that would have sent it to overtime. You keep finding ways to lose, Atlanta, and I feel bad for Raheem Morris because they were in a lot of these games, since he's taken over. So unfortunately, now he's gonna be out. So
yeah, I was gonna give Atlanta a dub, but that was too easy. They've been playing like duds all year.
Yeah, I had them on my list too. I was gonna get them.
I couldn't resist. So those are your
bonus. You can throw Houston on the bonus side if you want to. Houston, you can throw them on the bonus side if you want to, because they just I don't know what they need to do in Houston. Like, what direction do you even go in at this point? You got a quarterback, something we don't really have, but what else you got? You got a couple of defensive players that got some great names, but are they that good anymore? So I don't know what's going on down there.
Well, I'll give Cincy a bonus stud then. Brandon Allen has looked really bonus stud. Brandon Allen's looked really good lately. He had 371 yards and 2 touchdowns. Look, if they could just get an O-line, I think Cincinnati could be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC North.
Yeah.
They just got to get Joe Burrow back healthy.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a really super quick break. Coming up, we got the Bulls. The Bulls, unfortunately, are 0-3 and lost a heartbreaker last night to the Warriors. Also, the rest of the NBA in these first early weeks. Also, a little college football, college hoops, our year in review, and some other stuff too. Hopefully, we got some more stuff coming up for you in 2021. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So we'll be right back with more Second City Sports Zoom style.
Zoom style.
Welcome back to Second City Sports Zoom style.
Zoom style.
I'm Lamont. You can find me at Lamont Scott on Facebook, Lamont Scott 69 on Instagram, and Lamont Scott 16 on Twitter.
You can follow me at Keenan McGee on the Twitter and at Keenan_McGee on the IG.
You can follow yours truly, Sydney Brown, aka Sid the Kid, on the Twitter and the Instagram at SidKid80. Once again, at SidKid80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80. You can go to our website at weareregalradio.com. WEAREREGAL radio.com. You can follow this podcast, Second City Sports, along with the other podcast programming for War Media by simply searching for War on Anchor. That's WARR on Anchor, including that iHeartRadio app. Wherever you download your podcast, make sure you search for War on Anchor. And we're also on the Tube, aka YouTube, at War Media, once again at WARR Media. You can not only listen to us, but watch us do our thing live. Look alive!
All right.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, folks. Like, comment, share, subscribe on War Media on YouTube.
Yes, please do. Get those likes up. Get them up.
Yes, and during this holiday break, sorry, Lakeena, during this holiday break, if you miss any of our episodes, just go to War Media and catch up on all the episodes right there. You have plenty of time, folks.
Also on the Apple Anchor, Spotify, Google, iHeart. Yeah, so you guys got plenty of time to catch up on all the episodes. They're all right there.
Yes.
All right. So the Bulls, lost a tough one to the Warriors last night. They're 0-3. If you guys saw a little bit of the game, what's your mindset?
They gotta grow. That's it. They just gotta grow. It's growing pains. Games like that we need, and we need to have. And I think the games we're losing now, we won't be losing in the second half of the season. Like after the 20-30 game mark, I don't think they will be finding ways to lose heartbreakers like that.
You know what? For the Bulls, we said this coming to the season, they may have a shot of playing in the play-in game and for a chance to play for the playoffs. But this team still has to grow, like Lamont said. And coming into this season, a new head coach, Billy Donovan, he's going to play with some combinations to see what works, what doesn't work. And I was kind of shocked last night to see, looking at the box score here, that my guy, Daniel Gafford, didn't play last night against the Warriors, considering that your defense was terrible again last night, especially coming down the stretch. Now, looking at the Indiana game on Saturday, the offense didn't get going until late in that second half, which the Bulls almost made a game of it, but they lost again to Indiana. But looking at that Golden State loss from Sunday, they were playing good, but 24 turnovers will not get it done. When is the last time that an NBA team commits that many turnovers and they won a big game? It doesn't happen too often. So, like Lamont said, this is an example of a young team growing, trying to find themselves. It's still early, folks. Now, can you still have that reasonable expectations? Yes, but if you thought that this Bulls team was going to come out on fire and surprise people, you were sadly mistaken.
They are who we thought they were. They are who we thought. Yeah. But as far as going forward, like you said, with the tinkering of the lineups and different things, and why Gafford was not in the game, I will not understand. I mean, I think the few times that you have saw him, Carter, and Williams on the floor playing defense together, it didn't look that bad. I mean, we need that presence of Gafford, and we need Wendell to settle in to something. We just need him to pick something. Just do something. Do one thing all the time right, and everything else can come. I think Lakeena, and I got to thank Lakeena for opening my eyes up on Mr. Williams. And yes, I think it was a good pick. I think he looks like the type of player that'll be in the league for 20 years. He's just going to be solid. He going to play and do what he's supposed to do when he's supposed to do it. And he going to go off, and he could have his upside is really good, saying he looked so comfortable already. So, I mean, I think it's just growing, and I think Kobe learning to be a point guard, not a shooting guard, has been a learning experience. When you've been the man your whole life, and now they want you to be pass and the man, it's like picking up a whole new trade. It's like switch hitting almost. If you've been batting right-handed all your life and you get to college and they say, we want to make you a switch hitter. So it's about as hard as that probably. So it's going to be some growing.
It'll be interesting to know what Billy Donovan decides to do with the lineup, because he might use different combinations from the lineup, and also the defense. That's still an issue for them. It was an issue for them the last couple of seasons. It's still an issue for them, and I don't know. I mean, is Wendell Carter Jr. the guy for this system? I don't know. We'll see how serious Laurie's injury is. So we'll see what he does, but. Yeah, I mean, it is a bummer, though, for I know Bulls fans, I know we're hoping for, like, maybe they can contend for the number 8 seed, but I think right now it looks like, they may have to go through some growing pains again.
Yeah, and speaking of growing pains, Kobe White, taking a look at the box score from the loss to the Warriors on Sunday, he had 20 points off of 8 of 19 shooting in 36 minutes, but he had some costly turnovers, especially 3 turnovers during the last moments of the game. I know some people want to throw him out the starting lineup, saying that his playmaking, his development of playmaking days are over with. As we said during our Bulls NBA preview show last week, if you guys have missed it, you can catch it here on YouTube at War Media, or download War on Anchor wherever you download your podcast to take a listen back to that. I didn't expect Kobe White to be John Stockton and lead the league in assists, but you expected him to make a few plays here and there, at least at the least take care of the basketball. Now, Kobe White is a great shooter and a great scorer. I have Gilbert Arenas on my mind for some reason that I think that's what Kobe White will end up being. Hopefully he could be better than him off the court. but Kobe White is a scorer. We know that he's instant offense, but I would like to see him take care of the ball a little bit better. Like I said, I don't expect him to be John Stockton, but I think if he becomes a little bit better of a playmaker than last year, I think he will be all right. Right now he's struggling. I expected that, but I'm not going to throw him entirely under the bus. I'm not going to say this experiment is over. I think some people have set their expectations just a little bit too high on Kobe White. I do expect to see some improvement, but you expect him to be John Stockton and Michael Jordan at the same time. It's just not going to happen.
No, I'm with that. He's not. and I'm okay. And I think Bulls fans should be okay with that. I mean, look, he showed some flashes, but look, I mean, he's still learning, and we'll see what happens.
I'm okay if he become Kenny Smith, since he came from North Carolina. I'm okay if he become Kenny Smith. Kenny was a dead eye when he wanted to be, and he won the dunk contest. So, hey, I'm okay with that. Since you want to use the North Carolina blood, but it's gonna take a minute. It's gonna take a minute, and you just gotta have some patience, Bulls fans. I mean, I lived through the Reggie Theus era, so I have patience.
The original mayor of Rush Street.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, good times. Oh gosh.
Pretty
that's when they were terrible.
What they call him. Pretty Reggie, what they call him. So, yeah.
Yes, they did. I remember that. They did call him Pretty Reggie back in the day.
I lived through that era, and that's what I be telling a lot of the younger fans. I'm like, I remember when it was no Michael Jordan. So I remember when you can get in the stadium for free. You just go around to the side door. And, us West Siders know that well. And so.
How many times did you do that, Lamont?
30, 40. Easy. 30, 40. Because Madison was wide open then, the old stadium was right there. Yeah. And you can have, like now, it's a walk around to get to the back. But then the back door was on the front street, so to speak.
Right.
And I miss those days because it felt more like it was ours, you know what I'm saying? But I understand you had to do construction and keep it away from. You got to go under the tunnel and all of those things now. But I miss those days. But back on the court, we struggled. I remember, players like Ricky Sobers and Greenwood and things like that. So it's gonna be okay. I don't think we're gonna be as bad as the Tim Floyd era. I don't think we're going through nothing like that with Tyson them. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I mean they got some good players. I think Otto Porter needs to play his butt off, especially with Mark and him being hurt well, whatever. This gives Otto Porter a chance to shine for us finally. So I'm gonna be watching.
You're listening to Second City Sports along with Lamont Scott and Lakeena McGee. I am Sidney Brown as we talk about the Bulls in the NBA. Going back to the Bulls, Lamont, of course, they're now 0-3 and taking a look at some of the numbers, deeper numbers from the loss against the Warriors on Sunday. Lauri Markkanen actually came up big with 23 points. His shooting is starting to improve. He nailed 4 out of his 7 shots from three-point land. He nailed 5 of his 7 attempts from the free throw line. It seems like he's starting to get it together on the offensive end, but I want to see him play a little bit better defense. And let's focus in back on Wendell Carter Jr. as you talked about, Lamont. He hit his first 3 on Sunday night against the Warriors. He had 22 points total for the game. He had 13 total rebounds. I think hopefully this is the start of a confidence booster on the offensive end for Wendell Carter Jr. We all talked about it, that head coach Bailey Donovan has given him the green light to improve offensively. Wendell Carter Jr. last year wanted to do that before he got hurt under the old coach Jim Boylan, but Boylan didn't trust him to do that. So hopefully this is a confident booster for Wendell Carter Jr. Zach LaVine led all scorers for the Bulls with 33 points. He was 4 from 12 for three-point land, but it seems like to me that Zach LaVine is starting to play like he has something to prove, that he wants to be here long term and be in the face of this franchise.
Yeah, he's been playing defense too.
Yeah.
His defense has improved greatly. I mean, I know a lot of people probably don't notice it because it went from 0 to like 7 now, but 7 is much better than 0 where it was, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's actually moving his feet. He's using his athleticism on the defensive end like he does on the offensive end, and I think that's his difference.
And also, too, Gary Timber played 19 big minutes. He scored 2 points, but he was in there for some crucial minutes against the Warriors. Obviously, the Warriors came back and won. Going to the other side of the box score, Steph Curry led all scorers with 36 points. He had some big shots down the stretch. He was 9 for 9 from the free throw line, 5 for 15 from the three-point line. Lamont, going back to Golden State, we'll transition over to the bigger picture of the NBA in just a second. But do you think that – I know Draymond Green is out. He hasn't played yet this season. But do you think that Steph Curry, assuming that he's healthy, do you think that he can carry a team to a playoff berth? Because he hasn't had that pressure on his shoulders, because when he first was drafted now a decade ago, they were moving out the previous era of Steven Jackson, Monte Ellis, and Al Harrington and those guys. So he really didn't have a chance to see if he could carry a team. Of course, he already had Klay Thompson, who was drafted a couple of years later, and followed by Draymond Green a couple of years later after that. So do you think that Steph Curry can carry a team to the playoffs as soon as he stays healthy, and now that we know that Draymond Green hasn't played yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think that team especially because he has some help. I mean, you got Wiggins, and I think still in Kelly Oubre Jr. That's gonna make a big difference for them. But Wiggins is looking as comfortable as he's looked in the league, and I think he's gonna grow into that role. I told people when they got Wiggins that he was a more athletic Harrison Barnes, and as long as he start using that athleticism, and Wiseman gonna come along in the middle. I mean, really, whenever Draymond steps back in, he should have a seamless fit, and they will be somebody that people can't just overlook. So
it'll be interesting though. What they do with the Warriors once I guess Klay is able to come back. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think look, the Warriors, they so far. I mean, Damian Lee hit the game winner. So I mean, like I was expecting that. I mean, if it would be better if it would have been Curry or heck, even Wiseman. He can shoot the three from time to time. So who knows? But
Lee, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. Now, what about the NBA as a whole? Has anybody impressed you? I mean, the Clippers looked good right up until yesterday against the Mavs, and it's remember too Kawhi didn't play. Like, oh
You
my,
think?
yeah. I mean, let's all that was Kawhi's rest day, so I can't take that for what it's worth. But who's impressed you guys? Who's you guys have impressed so far?
Kevin Durant.
Even though he got dunked up by Terry Rozier the other night.
Yes.
Yeah. But Kevin Durant looked so like he looked like he's not even playing at full speed. The Nets are impressive when they want to be, and I tell people that if you go back and listen to our NBA preview show, I told people as long as they don't self-implode, can't nobody beat them. Nobody can beat them, not even the precious Lakers, because they can do what they want to do when they want to do it. I mean, you have people on that team not taking shots. You got Dinwiddie just sitting waiting, and Joe Harris, and they can do whatever they want to do. And then you got Jared Allen and the backup that they re-signed. I mean, yeah, the Nets are impressive, and yeah, I mean more impressive than the Lakers if you ask me.
I had to go with you with Brooklyn as well, Lamont. Of course, I watched some of the Christmas Day action against Boston. I think, me personally, that was the most competitive game. I'm using this in air quotes for those of you listening exclusively on the podcast. That Brooklyn-Boston game was competitive to 3 quarters, and then Brooklyn just decided to explode in the 4th quarter. Like you mentioned, Lamont, Kevin Durant, I don't think he's fully back yet. He's healthy enough to move around. I'm worried about him on the defensive end, but I think that's going to come through time. But offensively, he looks good. Kyrie looks good. I know Spencer Dinwiddie, as you mentioned, Lamont, now that he's injured with a partially torn ACL. Yeah. Hopefully, he won't be gone for too long. But other players on the roster are going to have to step in and step up. Now, I want to see what Steve Nash does. Like you said, when adversity hits that squad, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. Because, like you say, if they implode, this thing could be over in a hurry. But I'm not predicting doom and gloom yet for this squad.
I got.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Lamont.
No, I was just saying, yeah, they're deep enough to withstand the Dinwiddie. Like, they can just famously keep going with that injury, and that's what's scary about them. You know, what you mentioned, that injury. So, if they, like you say, if they don't implode, I don't see nobody rocking with them.
I have to say, though, Cleveland is looking good so far. I mean, Andre Drummond's been kind of like a one-man wrecking crew for that Cavs team. I mean, I don't know if they'll be able to keep it up, but, you know, so far they look good. Orlando has looked good. The Pacers have looked good. I mean, we'll see where Oladipo's mindset is. I mean, OKC. OKC. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just saying that OKC looked good for the one game they played. They've only played one game, but they looked good in that game. You know, the Lakers, I know they lost that opener to the Clippers, but look, it was an emotional night. You know, they got their rings, they had their families introduce them, so I'm not too worried about the Lakers. You know, they did well against the Mavs, so I'm not worried about them. But yeah, I mean, so look, the one disappointment I will say so far has been Washington. They lost last night. I mean, I thought maybe, you know, Russell Westbrook, you know, would be kind of like that, the guy that kind of helps Bradley Beal. They have not looked good. They haven't. And
well, they got the Bulls this week, so they should get back on track.
Oh, true. Probably so.
Didn't he get a triple-double? Westbrook still getting triple-doubles, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But a team that I've watched every game, Phoenix. Chris Paul is not doing what he did last year so far in Oklahoma City. It's like he's taking a backseat, so to speak, to Devin Booker in a sense. Like, I think they brought him on the lead, and he don't want to step. He looked like he don't want to step on toes right now, and I don't know how that's gonna go. And I don't. And foul trouble is a real issue down there in the valley, because I think. One game I'm watching, they in the bonus with 8 minutes to go in the first quarter, and both of the centers got 2 fouls apiece already. And then Chris Paul had 2. And then it's like fouling has been an issue in every game that they play. So I don't know what's going on with that down there, but I think if they're going to make any type of a step like people were thinking, Chris Paul has to be the leader and not just running the show, so to speak. Like, yeah, Devin Booker is your guy. But at the same time, I think they need Chris Paul to be Chris Paul and allow Devin Booker to be Devin Booker. So I'm interested to see how that works. I will be continuing to watch every game and, see how that goes.
Yeah, speaking of Phoenix, I did watch some of their game last Saturday. They lost to the Sacramento Kings on the road. Sacramento has a nice squad, but will they have enough? I don't know. Their key young guys like Harry Giles and Marvin Bagley Jr., especially, he has to stay healthy. De'Aaron Fox, I'm looking for another breakout year from him. But Phoenix, like you mentioned, Lamont, they got to win these. I know it's early, but they got to start winning these games, especially on the road against lesser opponents.
And that Bagley Jr. character, man, do you see what he can be? Like, sometimes I watch the stuff he do and be like, that man could be whatever he want to be. And it's like he stay hurt, though. He stay hurt. And if they can get him right, and De'Aaron Fox, I think he's going to continue to grow. So if they can get him right, Sacramento, they're going to hit somebody in the head not paying attention to him.
It'll be interesting, though. I mean, I think they'll only get better because I think it's like I said, it's still very early. Teams are just trying to, get their feet wet. For a lot of these guys, they haven't played, game action in months. So it's going to take about a couple, maybe another week or two to kind of get everybody sort of like into the rhythm. So I know people are kind of freaking out about some of the scoring or lack of scoring in some of these games, but I think people just need to kind of chill for a second. I was actually thoroughly entertained by all the Christmas games, actually, this past Friday. So it was actually, they were all pretty entertaining.
You had a chance to check out Detroit yet?
Not yet, but I've heard that they kind of been up and down. So
yeah, it's like Derek and Blake. It's the Derek and Blake show. So it's the former. Those guys were on the cover of 2K together. And that's was interesting to see them play together now. They was on the cover of 2K, and now they're on the same team. So technically, your team should be good, but they both. Derek, he's been on some allowing the rookie to have the show. He said, "This your team. I'm just the backup," and that's kind of where he had. I'm actually happy with the space Derrick Rose is in, like being in the league. Like he's in a good place. I'm happy that he's happy.
One team that I'm concerned about, but I have faith that they'll turn it around, is the Denver Nuggets. Of course, they lost their first two games at home. They lost to Sacramento on a great play by Buddy Hield on opening night. And, of course, they got embarrassed by the Clippers on Christmas. But I have faith that Denver is going to turn it around. They have too much talent on their roster. Mike Malone is too good of a head coach to not let this team slide down any further. So I have faith that Denver will turn it around.
Yeah, I think Denver. Yeah, I'm not worried about Denver. Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see Portland. I haven't watched them yet. I want to see Portland get down. And
they're 0-2 so far.
And of course, we can't overlook the fiasco in Houston. That's another situation that's just ridiculous and selfish at the same time that happened in Houston. So Houston, I think whenever they decide to make a move, will be a much better team. Whoever they move them to, I think whatever they get back can help whatever they got on the floor already. Because if I'm okay with going forward with a Cousins doing whatever he's done so far in the little one game or whatever they played, and John Wall looking as fast as ever they get to put around them two after they move Harden, I think will be beneficial. But I think something has to be done, because what he did as far as putting your team in a situation like that lets you know he already said he didn't want to be there, and he had to show you that way. You know what I'm saying? Like that he had to show you that way. It seemed like somebody should have been the middleman to holler at him and say, "Well, bro, you really gonna do this? Like, this is how you gonna do us?" And he look at it like it's not us. It's like, that's y'all. I'm not a part of that. And so They need to go ahead and accept that they're not going to get what they want. Send him somewhere. Even if you got to send him to Chicago, he going to end up somewhere like that.
That's not happening, Lamont.
Yeah, I know. I've been seeing Tim Doyle, who does a great job, doing analyst work, betting analyst for CBS Sports Network. But he keeps saying that, look, the Bears need Harden. The Bears need Harden. Look, Tim, it's not happening. Stop putting it out there. It ain't happening.
No, and the reason it's coming up is because it's starting to simmer down to they have a package that they can send. And that's what it's building up to be. They have a package. And they can match stuff. And that's what it's looking like. And no, I don't need or really want. I mean, maybe for the club business in the city and the stars that may come with them. But, yeah, it's going to be a team like that. Or Detroit, Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland gonna make a move like that because they like what they got with their young boys and Drummond right now. So it's gonna be somebody like us out of nowhere that no one's expecting to end up with them. But it has to happen soon because anytime you destroying a franchise like that, that's not good for business.
All right, welcome back to the Second City Sports Zoom style. I'm Lakeena McGee along with Cindy Brown and Lamont Scott. So let's go over to college football. There have been a lot of bowl games that has happened, these last few weeks, but also, the penultimate games are going to be happening on New Year's Day. You got the college football playoff. All right, so, whether or not, a couple of teams were more deserving than others, that's a whole other issue for another episode, so we won't go there. But, going through some of the, real quickly, some of these games, we'll start with the first one, the first college football playoff game. You got number 1 Alabama and Notre Dame. Alabama's going to be without their top center, their veteran center. He's done for the year, unfortunately tore his ACL in the SEC championship game against Florida. Where do you guys see this game?
Notre Dame going to show up and play. That's what they're gonna do. Show up and play. I don't see it helping.
That's all he has to say, folks. Okay.
And I have on a Notre Dame shirt today to represent them showing up. They're gonna show up. They're gonna show up, but it's gonna be hard.
Sid?
Yeah, they will show up and they will play, but they will get destroyed by Alabama. They're the running game for the Crimson Tide. This should be the key to their success, and not put everything on their quarterback, Matt Jones. As long as Alabama can get a strong running game going and let that defense hunt Ian Brock, that should be a perfect game play. I got Alabama in the blowout.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do I. I just look. They might do what worse than what Clemson did to Notre Dame. That's just how volatile it is. Okay, the nightcap in the playoff. It'll be these games are gonna be on Friday. Oh, this game's gonna be on Friday. Ohio State and Clemson. Where do you guys see this one?
Lakeena, I have a flashback from a year ago. Remember when we had Dan Walken on from USA Today? Well, this was after the game last year.
Yes.
Remember I picked Ohio State. They were right there, and they gave that game away to Clemson last year. I'm not so sure that I trust Ohio State this year. I don't. And I'm basing it on my true, unbiased eye test. Did you see that lack of performance against Northwestern? Their offense, if it wasn't for that running back running for over 300 yards, they would have lost the game. Clemson, I cannot stand them, but that's something personal. Going on the football field, they have a better talented roster overall. I think it's going to be close. In reality, Ohio State should get destroyed, but that's not going to happen. I see Clemson win this game by at least 10 points.
You remember what Indiana quarterback did to Ohio State?
Yeah, almost 500 yards.
Yeah.
He not Trevor Lawrence or the backup. So I look for Clemson to get as much as he had, if not more. And whoever they put at quarterback, if they decide to rest Trevor at halftime because they up by 30, however that goes, I don't see Ohio State performing. Like, I really would have rather seen an A&M team play than Ohio State player, because Ohio State, I don't think they're ready.
Yeah, I look, Clemson's a veteran squad, that Ohio State team, although there have been some names, overall they're young, so I think Clemson will probably end up winning by at least 2 possessions. I just think that Clemson is just too good, and we may get another Alabama versus Clemson part 5 next week. Next week.
That's what it's going to be called. The saga continues, because
the mini-series.
Yeah, that's your championship right there. That's who's going to be playing in it.
Okay, let's go through a couple of these other non-playoff games real quick. You got the Cheez It Bowl coming up tomorrow. You got OK State against Miami.
Miami.
Miami. Didn't that quarterback, you say he's coming back, right?
Yep. Derrick King, yep.
He's going back. I'm glad he's going back. I think he wants a shot at that #1 draft pick or that Heisman next year. So that's why he's coming back.
And also, too, Miami could be in the top 10 next year. They got a lot of those guys back, so we'll see. Yeah. All right, Cotton Bowl, Florida and Oklahoma should be a good one down in Jerry's World in AT&T Stadium.
Oklahoma, because they had the home field advantage. I'm using air quotes for those of you that's listening on the podcast.
I think if Trask has a great game, I think you're going to start hearing those whispers that he will be picked before Justin Fields in the draft. I think he will. If he has a great game, I think his name will jump to #2 quarterback coming out of college.
And Trask could be a receiver for the Heisman. Just saying.
Yes.
Saying. But I think Oklahoma will win it, though. I think. I like their team better overall. All right. A few more here. The Peach Bowl, that'll be on New Year's Day. You got Georgia and Cincy. Should be a good one.
I'm rooting for Cincinnati, because they
same here.
All year, I want them to go and slap a SEC team in the mouth. That way they can start. And I love the SEC to death, but I think that they should slap them in the mouth and say, "Hey, we're here." Because Cincinnati was disrespected. Y'all got dropped because y'all was sick. Because of COVID, y'all fell in the rankings because of COVID, because y'all couldn't play. And then others got pushed up because they couldn't play. So, no, I think they should. I'm rooting for them to slap them real hard in that game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, though, because Georgia, it's going to be one of those games where I'm sure Georgia had, higher expectations. They're going to be facing a Cincy team. This should be a good one, though. I'm going to go ahead and pick Georgia, though. I just think – talent-wise, I think they're better, but it might end up being a high-scoring game. Who knows? All right, Citrus Bowl, you got Auburn at Northwestern.
Uh-oh, Sid.
I hate to say it, even on cheer as hard as hell for Northwestern, I think I'm going with Auburn.
Just like the last pick, we want a team to slap a SEC. We want them to beat them. But I don't think they will. I think it'll help if they do. It will.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
It'll help, but I don't think they can.
Yeah, I think they're showing up their new coach. So I think Bo Nix wants to kind of redeem himself. Had this point in the season. So this is probably going to be a get right game for Auburn. I think. No shade to Northwestern. I think they're going to keep it close, but I think Auburn will get it. Okay, a couple more real quick. The Fiesta Bowl, Oregon and Iowa State. 2 contrasting styles.
Yes. They're going to meet.
Call me crazy, I'm going with Oregon.
That's not crazy.
No, that's what I'm not calling you crazy, but I think once they get a taste of that physicality, they're going to slow down a little bit. So I'm going to go with Iowa State.
You know what? I like Oregon. I know that I trust Oregon's offense more than I trust Iowa State's defense, if that makes any sense. If that makes sense. Last one here, the Orange Bowl, Texas A&M and North Carolina.
I take Texas A&M because they mad.
Yeah, I'll go with Texas A&M as well.
Should be a good one. I mean, the Kellen Mond from that's a guy that's some people are saying it could be a pick for the Bears. We'll see. They got North Carolina's got that great running back tandem, so it could be this could be a high scoring game, I think. So I'll pick A&M too, but I wouldn't be surprised if we all know Mac Brown likes to pull off upsets, so this is probably what he might pull this off. So who knows? Should be some great bowl games.
They like to throw good quarterbacks in the NFL out of North Carolina, so anything can happen.
Another Mitchell Trubisky dig.
Oh yeah, there's the reference there. Yeah. All right, real quick with college hoops. Jay Wright, we want to send our get well soon. He tested positive for COVID yesterday, and Villanova has had to pause all of their basketball activities, so they're going to be out for about a week, maybe 2 weeks. So COVID's already wreaking havoc on the college season. Also, the women's team is actually ranked in the top 10. Now coached by Carol Lawson. They've actually decided to opt out the rest of the season. So, interesting in the college hoops realm. But let's talk about on the court now. What if you guys have watched any this week? Who has impressed you so far?
I watched only a couple minutes over the weekend. Illinois has impressed me. They had a big bounce back win. And also congratulations to Northwestern, Chris Collins. They beat Michigan State. I know they have a big game against Iowa coming up this week. So we'll talk about that in our next podcast. But Northwestern, I'm not saying they're going to make the tournament or they're going to win the Big Ten, but let's see if they can continue this momentum.
Yeah, I'm a ride. I'm a ride with my two Big Ten teams, man. I need Iowa to get back on track and do what they're supposed to do because they got a superstar down there and some shooters.
Yeah, Garth is good.
And some shooters around them. So
yeah,
I want them to be as good as some of the old teams. I want them to show up and show out. So I'm gonna be sitting back rooting for them. And like you said, looking at the women's side is. Like it's being hit hard. Like I watched Purdue play the other day, and it's a girl down there. I forget her name right now, but she was just devastating in the paint. She was down there moving. So you can tell she was like a big Indiana girl. So she was moving. I hope COVID decides to date some other people like nobody and just leave people alone for a little. I want her to go on hiatus for a little while and allow us to enjoy some women's and men's college basketball.
Wasn't it Duke's women's team that canceled their season, Lakeena? I want to say it was Duke. I know on the men's side it was Chicago State.
Yeah, I think they did. It was Duke. Yeah, they did over the weekend. I would say, look, I mean, Northwestern there's a guy on Northwestern, his name's Caleb something, I forgot his name, but he's looked really good. They pulled up the upset like you mentioned, against Michigan State. Also, Minnesota upset Iowa. Richard Pitino's got his guys playing well. So top to bottom, they're both now ranked in the new rankings, Northwestern and Minnesota. So
that Big Ten, rough.
Oh my gosh. I mean, look, it could go down to the wire as to who could win. It may you could pull maybe 7 or 8 of those teams in a hat, and if you take out the team that will end up winning it, yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They're not okay. They solid. I think they're gonna get them East Coast teams and them Southern teams a run for their money this year. When they run up against some of these bigger names, I think these names gonna be in for a slight shock when they run up against some of these Big Ten schools.
Should be very interesting though in the Big Ten. There have been some games that have been canceled due to COVID protocol. Some players and some teams have paused their practices. Also, Keontae Johnson, he'll be back in the sidelines, but also as a coach, it'll probably be a while before he's able to get back to playing. So we'll see what happens. Also, too, it's good to see him walking around and alive. That's awesome.
Yeah. Will the DePaul men's basketball team ever play a game this year?
They did actually. Yeah, they did. They actually did. They played a couple. They played Western Illinois finally, and they beat Western Illinois. So yeah, they actually are playing. So for all you DePaul fans who are wondering when are we going to see them play, they have. So we'll see what happens. But
talking about under the radar.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are like, yeah. Also Kansas too. Kansas has looked really good. They beat West Virginia. They beat Texas Tech on the road, so they've looked good.
Yeah.
All right. So as we wrap up our last show for the year, it's been a trying year, I think, for everybody in various ways and in various forms. Of course, we've had tragic deaths, from Kobe to, many, we've lost, John Thompson and a lot of other, like, Phil Niekro just passed away too on the baseball side.
Kevin Green.
Yeah, exactly. So, Kevin Green too. He was one of my favorites, defensive players growing up. Been a tough year, and also COVID too. It's wreaked havoc on people's lives, and also with the sports calendar. So, and we've done our best here as a show. We were doing it in the studio. Now we're doing it through Zoom. It's actually been so much better for us, because it's worked better with our schedules, and also we actually have guests on now, and talk each other face to face. I'm doing the air quotes here. So, but I love what we've been doing here, especially when we had the social justices. We had that show Sid with social justice a few months back, I think, in May, when all this was started happening. But look, I love what we do, and hopefully we can do it bigger and better next year.
Yes, I want 2021 to blow, man. Like, I was in church yesterday, and we was talking about how thank God for 2020 and all it taught us, and the new things it taught us, the new ways to do things. And some of the things may have been difficult going in, but on the other side of it, we gonna come out better from it. And so, instead of looking at 2020 for all the bad things that it has brung, we can look at some of the good stuff that it has taught us in different ways to do things, and the time that all of us have had to meditate and grow in ourselves to go forward. So, I mean, 2021 should be super exciting, and like I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, like I said, I always try to practice gratitude even before tragedy strikes. I'm still thankful to have a job, to have a decent place to stay, doing what we love to do, especially with you guys here. So I can't complain too much on the personal side. Yes, obstacles are going to come our way, but if you stay your course and stay true to who you are, like you mentioned, Lamont, you can come out of it anything. But focusing on this show for just a second, look what we've gone through, Lakeena. And this is not to be throwing stuff against the wall, but I remember we didn't know at the time, but, Matt Peck, our good friend from Locked on Bulls podcast, we had him in our studios for the All-Star Weekend in Chicago. Thank goodness that COVID didn't do anything to that yet.
Thank goodness.
at the time, we didn't know that that was going to be our last in-studio guest on the radio side. But we had, as you mentioned, we had to adjust like everybody else. But this has been working out great. And I know we're going to drop some names before we go, Lakeena. I'm doing this out of memory, but we'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us this year, especially when we're doing this show remotely, like Alyssa Bergamidi, Caitlin Sharkey, Casey Standahar. You can back me up, Lakeena. I know I'm going to miss some names, but
okay, I got
we have Romy Bean. Yeah, Romy Bean joined us.
Yep.
Cameron Smith.
Yep.
The Bigs. No, we're going to have them back next year, i.e. Terrence joined us, but Eugene's going to be on this program next year.
Yeah, he better.
Yeah.
He better. He's been ducking us, I think.
No. He don't duck us.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, we love him. But we had him on, and of course we had on from I forgot the guy from New York. It'll come to me in a minute, it'll come to me. But we had Matt Verderam on from Fansided.com. Of course, Lester Wilfong,
Mark Shanowski.
Mark Shanowski, Layla Rahimi. She was great.
Hopefully, she'll have a new gig at the Score. Fingers crossed there.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of the Score, our buddy Mark Grody. Hopefully, we can have him back on soon. Kevin Powell from WGN Radio does a great job doing their sports. Fred Mitchell we just had on about a month ago. Legendary sports.
Brittany Toulis.
Yeah. Oh yes, we do. Yes. She's terrific. shoot, who else? I know I'm missing. Oh, our good buddy Spiro Ditas, duh. I mean, from
Yeah.
CBS. Hopefully we'll have him on, since, he's finishing up, NFL, and now he's going to be doing the college hoops and also NBA too. So we can have him on as well. Also, our NBA panel. I mean, we've had multiple times, get Atlanta touchdown multiple times. Hopefully we'll have Josh Hicks on again. Also Sean Davis too. We can talk some Illinois sports, with him.
Pat Boyle from NBC Sports Chicago, the Blackhawks pre and post game host. Also, we had the hockey lady, Chicago's very own Miss Rachel Kopchak.
Rachel Kopchak, I forgot about
her.
That.
She was a lot of fun. Also, Jenna Scurio from SI now. She covers the White Sox for Southside bullpen. We had her on. I think it was the same episode. So you guys check it out at War Media on YouTube and at War on Anchor wherever you download your podcast.
Right, yeah. All the interviews are there. Also, we just had her off. She does stuff for the trip. My mind. Look,
Shannon Ryan.
Shannon Ryan. Yep, we just had her on. For the doing Tribune. Hopefully, we'll have her on since we're finishing up college football now. We're doing college hoops. So hopefully, we'll have her on.
Dion Miller and Dawn Mitchell.
Yes. Oh, and Dion recently did a podcast recently. She actually shared her struggles with an eating disorder, which a lot of us did not know. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you check that out. You guys check that out. Also, you can check out all our interviews, both visually and on the audio side on YouTube, and also wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah. Also, too, thank Julie Donaldson, now the Washington football team broadcasting. We had her on 2 weeks before she got hired to participate in the broadcasting. So I'd like to thank her as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully we didn't forget anybody. If we did, blame the mind, not the heart. We appreciate you guys this year.
Yeah, we do. And hopefully you guys will keep supporting us. Hopefully we'll have a lot of those guys, a lot of those folks back. Also, even new friends, hopefully, we're already working on some stuff for 2021. So look.
Kayla Anderson too.
Oh yeah, Kayla. Okay.
We can try to get Jason back. We can catch up with Jason.
And he might have a lock on Maryland's place. Special Second City Sports Zoo style. Special guest star Jason Pfeiffer. It could be like that from back in the day. I think he's got to that point. But yeah, he's doing big things up in Michigan too. So with our buddy Derek Tate, who we also had on. So hopefully we'll have a lot of those folks back. But also even new friends. We're already working on some names for 2021. So hopefully you guys take this journey with us.
Yes. It's been a great one, man. I want to thank y'all for all y'all have done for me and taking me in and teaching me this business and even introducing me to all these great people, man. While you was still naming the Hamilton, Nick Hamilton.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Hamilton. Just like introducing me to all these people, starting relationships. So I thank y'all. That's been wonderful.
Hopefully we'll be doing more. You'll be interviewing even more, new friends. Hopefully, But we got some stuff, stuff that we're planning out. Still trying to work out the kinks for 2021. But hopefully we'll be able to share them with you. And they're.
I know the guy. Yeah, the guy's name from the New York Post, Jake Brown.
Yes.
We had him on doing the Giants Bears for the early in the season.
Yes, we did.
Thank him.
Yes, absolutely. So we think.
And also Maya Kai.
Yes,
Maya Kai.
Yes.
We finally got her on the program. She was awesome. Yeah. And Dave Kerner.
Yes. Oh, well, yeah. Dave's good. I know Dave's gonna be yelling at me like, "Come on, Lakeena, you forgot me."
Yeah.
So I can picture him saying that too. Like, "Come on, Lakeena. Like, look, Dave, we love you, so we didn't forget about you. Thank goodness." All right. I hope we got everybody. I hope we did.
I think we did.
I think we did too. So yeah. So hopefully we have all those folks on, and also even more new people coming on. Like I said, we have some stuff that we want to plan out for next year, so hopefully we'll be able to do that for you, and you can stay with us as we continue on this journey doing this Zoom style. I love how I love technology, right? Zoom, whoever invented Zoom is probably like a genius right now. He's making they're probably making billions of dollars right now.
StreamYard, Skype, everything.
Oh, yeah, all that. So all the folks who invented those streaming services, thank you guys, because you guys were lifesavers this year for everybody.
Yeah.
And you bring people closer together, and you taught people things that they didn't know. Like I even have even my mother do Zoom calls with her sisters out of state now. I'm like, hey, yeah, it's possible. You don't have to just FaceTime. You can Zoom now. So I thank 2020 for Zoom. That's been the one battler who, if it's anybody who has played and fought COVID one-on-one all year, it's been Zoom. It's for everything taken, Zoom's bringing back. So that's the heavyweight fight of the year right there. COVID and Zoom. Zoom bringing back everything COVID trying to take away. So that's the struggle right there.
Yeah, two more people, Lakeena, real quick. Russell Dorsey of now the Chicago Sun-Times covering the Cubs, and Josh Fryman from WGN.
Again,
and Larry Howley too.
Yes, Larry Howley too. I can picture Russ like, "Come on, guys, really? You know, hello." Again, I can picture them like, "Hey, don't forget about me." But yeah, so hopefully that's everybody. But like I said, look, you can follow us. You can look, the episodes are right there on the War on Anchor website, on the audio side, and also on the video side. So you're all covered. Mm-hmm. With that said, you can follow me at Keena McGee on Twitter and at Keena_McGee on the IG.
You can follow me at Lamont Scott on Facebook, Lamont Scott 69 on Instagram, and Lamont Scott 16 on Twitter.
You can follow me, Sidney Brown, on the Twitter and the IG at SidK80. Once again, at SidK80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80. As LeBron does the Samuel Jackson dance from Jungle Fever from 91. Mama, give me some money.
Oh, my gosh. Going all the way back machine with that one. Oh, my gosh.
Speaking of Jungle Fever, Chris Bass had Cinda Williams. An interview with Cinda Williams from Mo Better Blues.
Oh yeah,
another great classic movie. Yes.
Yes.
I was melting. I had called him. I was melting because I'd had a crush on that lady since that lady said, I got friends in Harlem. The way she sung that song was just so beautiful. Mm-hmm. I met being in the music business. I met pretty much everybody I wanted to meet, and just to be able to talk like that. I met a lot of people in the music business, but it was good that Bass had grabbed that, had on his show, that he do a weekly show where he interview people. So
okay,
shout out to Chris Bass, one of my teachers at so
nice.
He's doing something big over there too.
Oh, that's great.
You can go to our website at weareregalradio.com. That's WEAREREGAL radio.com. Read all of our articles. You can follow our podcast, Second City Sports, along with our other podcast programming from War Media by simply searching for War on Anchor, wherever you download your podcast, including the iHeartRadio app. Just type in that search engine box, War on Anchor. That's WARR on Anchor. And we're also on YouTube at War Media, once again, at WARR Media. You can not only listen to us, but watch us do our thing. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Any interviews that you miss or you want to rewatch again, make sure you go to War Media on YouTube. You can watch all of our shows and all of our other shows as well. And follow that Davis show as well on YouTube with Kenneth Davis and Ryan Bukoveski, who's now in Arizona.
Oh, yes. Okay. Nice. He's enjoying that nice weather.
Yeah.
All right. So, gotta leave them laughing, folks. So, look, be safe, celebrating the new year. I know a lot of y'all probably gonna be, in your house anyway. That's fine. Look, we're gonna get through this. Look, we just gotta keep churning along. So
we're almost there.
We're almost there. So just please, wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance. So for the guys, I'm Lakeena. We'll see you next year. Hope with more, even bigger and better than ever. Second City Sports. This is Second City Sports Zoom style, and we'll see you next year.
Happy New Year. Welcome 2021. Till next year. Holla!